Good afternoon and hello from Browns Bay. It's Wednesday, the 6th of May. It's day 9 of our L3 lockdown. And tomorrow we hope to hear some good news about progressing to a better level of more engagement in the community and more businesses opening up. Um, I spoke yesterday about that dead parrot scene, that Monty Python, the scene of the parrot in the pet shop. And the parrot is nailed to the perch as if it looks alive. Um, Thinking about that again, sometimes we've been in that kind of situation, um, barely existing and pretending to be alive when actually on the inside we're dying. Burnout can do that to you. I've been there. It's a horrible place to land up because if you don't get help, you end up unable to function, and your inner life just dries up, and on the outside you look alive, but you don't really feel it. And I think people cotton on eventually that you're not doing very well. Uh, this talk of looking after our inner life is not just because it sounds good or fashionable. When the plane is in trouble, as you know, they always tell you to put your oxygen mask on first before you help others around about you. If you don't look after yourself, you're no good to others. And we might all end up looking like someone just nailed to a perch. It's not just individuals that can feel dead on the inside. Um, some church communities can appear to be alive, but actually are a bit dead on the inside too. It reminds me of a great story Nicky Gumbel tells of a church where a man was beginning to look very happy and raising his hands in worship and enjoying himself in church. And the church warden came to him and said, tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Excuse me, sir, we don't do that here." And the man said to the warden, "But I found religion and I'm happier than I've ever been before." And the warden said, "Well, you didn't find that here." Um, the pastor I read some years back was reflecting on the ministry and talked about this whole issue of burnout. And he said this: "I think the single most important thing a pastor can do each day is to wake up and focus his energy on enjoying Jesus and having as much fun as possible." He went on to say, "I don't think there's much power in preaching grace if you're not yourself reveling in grace." Now, that kind of enjoying Jesus and having as much fun as possible seems a bit of a stretch, especially for those who face insurmountable challenges. If you look in scripture, examples come to mind like Jeremiah writing Lamentations in the face of the destruction of a city. He talks about his affliction and his wandering, the bitterness and the gall. And he says, I well remember them, and my soul is downcast within me. And then suddenly, in the midst of that lament, there's a word of hope. He says in verse 21, "Yet this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed. His compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness." When we wake up every day, those huge problems, the insurmountable ones, are still there, those impossible ones. Like a city that's been destroyed, think of bombed out cities of the world. Think of the hurricanes, the tsunamis that we've seen in our lifetime, the mess that you find yourself after cyclones. Think of all the millions that are hungry and desperate, and now after this pandemic, even more hungry. I think when you look at the mess of the world and the thousands that have died, an honest lament is required. We should grieve, just as individuals should grieve. W.H. Auden has a great poem which expresses individual grief. It's called Funeral Blues. It was written in about 1938. You might have heard it in a movie or somewhere. It goes like this: "Stop all the clocks, cut off the telephone, prevent the dog from barking with a juicy bone, silence the piano and with a muffled drum, bring out the coffin, let the mourners come." And then it ends with, "The stars are not wanted now, put out everyone, pack up the moon and dismantle the sun, put away the ocean and sweep up the wood, for nothing now can ever come to any good." That's a personal lament. It's a very real expression of grief. It's rather a brilliant poem, actually. It expresses sadness because of the greatness of love that is lost. People get into desperate situations and are in desperate situations today. There are all kinds of things that cause loneliness and persistent loss. And those who've lost their incomes and are worried about their future also struggle. And you find this loss in all kinds of situations. Immigration does it, refugees suffer it, not just individual grief, but as a corporate group, people have a real sense of losing their identity and their history. In the face of that drum that is beats out the coming of the coffin, there's another drum, there's another song. There's the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases, is the song that we sing from that passage in Lamentations 3. You will know it, I'm sure. Great is your faithfulness, O God, my Father, is another one. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. How we start the day is quite important in cultivating this inner life. In Psalm 5, there's this lovely morning prayer. Give ear to my words, O Lord. Consider my meditation. It says, hearken unto the voice of my cry, my King and my God. For unto thee will I pray. My voice shalt thou hear in the morning. O Lord, in the morning will I direct my prayer unto thee, and will look up. I'd encourage you to try and start your day with the right frame of mind, the right reference points. Starting recognizing his mercies, looking up, realizing that all that we have needed, his hand has provided. That even in the face of the lament and the grief and the sadness, he promises joy and restoration and comfort. His presence is always there. The bottom line is we can't solve these things ourselves. We can't rescue ourselves from that depths of despair, but we can rest in God. We can recognize his mercies every morning, and we can rejoice in the Lord because of what he has done. He doesn't abandon us, and he will comfort us, and we can actually enjoy him today and every day. So may you find new strength and new joy, and may you find an inner peace as well in the face of whatever insurmountable challenges you might encounter in this day, week, and the months and years ahead. Well, God bless you from Browns Bay. It's always good to talk to you, and we'll see you again. Do take care, and goodbye.